similar to Charlie, when I watched these movies like basically when I was at Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house and Bondathon was on.
Bondathon.
All the time.
Spike TV.
That's it.
I somehow this must have escaped my radar. This is actually my first time seeing it.
Really?
Yes,
Okay,
I've not seen this film before.
Go. What you got?
So I'm going to go ahead and say I almost want to apologize to McCurdy because I almost am tempted to rank this last. Because it's just
after last episode, I
got emotional, and you're like, I've seen all the Bond films. This is the worst Bond film.
I was hoping you were going to say rank this
no.
above Secret Service. Like,
yeah.
Sorry, McCurdy, but fuck you.
I'll say this, Patterson. If we're talking about the ranking, though, I could see this going above. Well, hold on. Let's have Charlie ask the question.
Please,
so
yeah,
he wants to make.
I
think we should go around the. I wish we could just reveal it all at the same time because.
Okay.
I just want to say first off, I do fucking love this movie. Like I said, it makes up for being
stupid,
terrible by being hilarious and entertaining, and anything is inevitably going to head towards self-awareness and goofiness, right? Bond is constantly pretending to be somebody else in this movie.
And it adds this odd comedic factor that enables Sean to just have fun this time around.
You are English?
Yes, I'm English.
I speak English. We were inseparable, you know. Please, Mr. Franks.
Klaus Hergersheimer, G-section. Just checking on radiation shields.
Throughout the entire movie, he's a fraud and an imposter. At one point, he pretends to kill himself. And the chick, Tiffany Case, recognizes James Bond.
My God. You just killed James Bond.
Is that who it was?
I thought
Super
that was so
spy
weird.
that is supposed to be anonymous and is
figure?
just supposed to be the blunt instrument of his government.
That's false.
Is apparently world famous, and so is Blofeld, to the point where it's now just straight up Batman versus the Joker. Blofeld is just like the Joker he's like an evil genius capable of doing anything. Apparently, as soon as he killed James Bond's wife, he went straight to work stockpiling diamonds to build a satellite to hold the world to ransom. In this movie, they reach superstar status, and that's stupid. And had this been You Only Live Twice, this movie would have been awful. But it's so fucking entertaining that very quickly I was like somewhat taking notes on shit that doesn't make sense. And then I was like, this is pointless. Why even point out a single thing that doesn't make sense? Because that's not the point of this movie. And it only lends towards this discussion we've had so far. And it's only going to continue in the future. Bond has this spectrum of like serious, dark, stark, and depressing. And then just like shut up and have fun. Like I suggest you just stop thinking about it. Have
it was
a good
almost
time.
kind of jarring to go from Secret Service to this.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Totally.
Because it just a like 180 tone shift. Complete 180 tone shift.
It's like give the people what they want. Apparently nobody wanted to walk out of the theater crying. They're like, what happened to Bond? Like normally I love and it's like fun, you know? And they all walked out of the theater depressed, and they're like, we need to get back to Bond using gadgets and shit. You know,
I agree with you. This movie's a lot of fun. I think this may have been one of the first movies I saw of the Bond series. I also was a little creeped out by it too.
It's honestly a decent one to start with because it's straight up super spy.
Yeah.
That if somebody had never watched James Bond and they wrote a Bond movie, it would be this movie. They would assume that this is what Bond was. And then they would go watch older stuff and they'd be like, wait, it was like classy and realistic and to be taken seriously. And Diamonds Are Forever is like watching Austin Powers. Yeah. Before we go any further, though, let's just get it out real quick. My rank is to put it at number 6. This movie's definitely better than You Only Live Twice because I think You Only Live Twice and Diamonds Are Forever are the same style of movie. It's just that they realized with Diamonds Are Forever that they could take a more comedic approach and kind of elevate it a bit. But there's no way that you could possibly put it in that top 5 because the quality of those movies as just spy action movies are just always going to be far superior. I do love this movie, but as a farce, I can't justify putting it above Thunderball, but I can absolutely justify putting it above You Only Live Twice. So far as I really wish that they would have gone comedic with You Only Live Twice. It's like they maybe did at parts, but it just made for a weaker movie that didn't really have interesting characters and all that. Whereas with this, I mean, at one point you have the Bond girl arguing with a 12-year-old over a stuffed animal, and she literally tells him to blow up his pants.
The machine's fixed. Who's she, your mother? Blow up your pants.
I just laugh the whole time at how ridiculous it is. It's just fun.
I'm just going to go ahead and give my ranking here. I actually agree with Charlie's ranking. I would still rank this personally above On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But here's why. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you why.
Does he have a poem?
Because On Her Majesty's Secret Service, in my opinion, tried to be something and failed to be what it set out to be.
I agree. Whereas
this movie definitely succeeded in what it was trying to do, which is why
we don't give a
it.
Our mission statement is not giving a and having fun.
Sustaining, however, the arguments from last time, which we're not going to rehash because that's not this episode, that was last episode. I'm going to go ahead and say I think it does belong above You Only Live Twice, because I think You Only Live Twice can also be blamed for that same problem where, like, I think they were trying to be serious in You Only Live Twice. They just failed. Whereas this movie...
I think, You Only Live Twice is very much a science fiction, over-the-top movie. This, I agree. I completely agree. I think I would put that the same spot. For sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it at 6.
And I also think this movie, from a cinematography standpoint, I think this is one of the uglier movies, mainly because the two colors that I'm wearing that I see a lot in this movie. It's not everywhere for sure, but you got that mustard yellow and brown combination that was prevalent in the early or late 60s, early 70s
look.
It's very much in the movie. And I always think of those two colors when I watch this movie, because as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, there's another mustard yellow, there's another brown. And even with Bambi and Thumper, like that's their outfits, is one's wearing brown, one's wearing yellow.
Nans, go ahead with your rank, then I'll finish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as Patterson on this one, where I've never seen this one. And I wish what Charlie said was true for me in terms of you cry laughing watching this. I was just scratching my head the whole time.
That's kind of how I was.
Like, what is happening in this movie?
If you're going to be yelling out, what the f***, it's also going to be Diamonds Are Forever. I think after watching, just being a Bond fan for so long, it is so self-referential, which I generally frown upon, but they take it to such a degree that eventually the movie just wins you over, and you're just like, I don't give a shit anymore.
McCurdy, you mentioned the questions, and that was me watching this movie. It's just question after question after question, and just
what is happening?
That was my experience.
Yeah, my gut reaction to the movie.
It was bewilderment more than it was bemusement.
Yeah, my impression was just a question, and that question for this movie, everything happening in it is just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So you guys have seen it. Charlie, you've seen it. You understand what it is. So you can come in with an expectation and know to kind of cover your ears, cover your eyes a little bit, and just like throw the blinders on and try to enjoy it, I guess. Coming in blind is just like, what's going on? And I have a hard time separating it as like, okay, this is a comedy. This is a different type of James Bond. Look at it differently. Maybe these films aren't necessarily meant to watch back to back to back like we're doing. Like if back in the day, you watched them as they came out every few years or whatever, it would be easier to separate it out like that. But coming in fresh off of all the other movies we've seen so far into this one is just confusing. And the only way I can rank it right now is just based off of entertainment value. If I had to choose a movie to watch again right now of the ones we've already seen, this would be at the bottom of my list. I think I would rank this last. But I could definitely see like Patterson's point about You Only Live Twice. It failed to achieve what it was trying to do.
You mean Our Majesty's Secret Service?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
Patterson, I think you mentioned You Only Live Twice, right?
Yeah, I said I would put. I'm agreeing with Charlie's order of putting it above You Only Live Twice and below.
So it's a tone thing, though, right? It's a tone thing. So, like, You Only Live Twice says, take us seriously. Right. Secret Service says, really take us seriously. This is the equivalent of watching Batman Begins and then going and watching a Joel Schumacher, Batman and Robin.
Forever.
It's like if they had followed up Batman Begins with Batman Forever, and you're like, what the hell happened?
That's basically what it's like, yes.
Straight up.
Maybe if you guys had told me before you watch this, Nathan, keep in mind, it's a joke. The whole movie is a joke. Then I would have been like,
McCurdy
able
did
to
say
enjoy
that last week. He said something to that.
McCurdy said last week, Bond dies after this. Like,
Yeah.
Secret
This
Service.
is the last
that's
true
like,
Bond film.
yeah,
I think
like
he said
done.
something.
At that point, the
Yeah.
franchise died with Tracy. And imagine being George Lazenby watching this movie and being like, Christ, I'm glad I got out when I did.
dodge
But
that bullet.
Yeah.
like we said last week, though, Sean Connery has it. The guy
Yeah.
has,
He has
it in
He
spades.
has it.
And I've never watched a Sean Connery movie and I didn't enjoy it. He's one of those rare
League of
stars
Extraordinary
that no
Gentlemen
matter
sucks,
what they're doing,
and he's the
you-
star of that movie.
I
I'm gonna
even love that
contradict you.
movie.
I'm
I
gonna say
really
that movie
do.
sucks.
It's
But
just,
we're getting
that's
way
a
off topic
stupid.
with getting into those.
If you like that movie, you'll like this movie.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears.
I want to finish just with my
I'll let
ranking
you-
before we
finish.
continue.
I'll let you finish.
Here,
Scott.
I want to build off of Nan's. It is tough going into this film after the last several, especially after the last one, being a very serious film, very emotional, and then you walk into this film and you're like, "What the is this?" and it's funny. It is so funny. There's so many quips, so many good moments. It exactly as Patterson said. It hits its point to what it needs to be. And this is why I will go as far as ranking this one right now. My range is 5 to 6.
Okay.
As of current. But I would go as far as ranking this above Thunderball.
So I cannot, in good conscience, I can't put it above Thunderball because Thunderball, no matter all the shit I talk about Thunderball, even just the underwater fight at the end alone is enough to rank it above. Thunderball wasn't enough to put it above the first 3 Connery films. When it comes to Connery Bond, those first 4 are so rock solid that I just can't in good conscience put Diamonds Are Forever above any of those. But I can absolutely put it above You Only Live Twice. Again, not to keep reiterating,
I could
but,
see that.
but,
Correct.
Like, You Only Live Twice. I really wish they would have brought in Guy Hamilton to do what he did for Diamonds Are Forever, to do that to You Only Live Twice.